Hi everyone, I got interviewed by Crunchyroll News in Spanish and I'm going to share the interview and maybe add more information. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to read the original interview. For this video, I'm going to read it in English. Okay, so this was published on November 20, 2023. The Mexican animator Mariana tells us how she got into magical destroyers. More Latinos are getting a foot or two into the industry. And the interview was by Amilcar Trejo Mosquera. The dream of working in the anime industry is one that may seem very far away if you are Latino or Spanish. However, some have already achieved this. It's difficult but not impossible, and that's why today we're sharing our second interview with an animator, Mariana. We found Mariana by looking into the credits of a series that aired last spring, Magical Destroyers, known in Japan as Mahou Shoujo Magikaru desu Toru Yasu desu. We're going to start with the most obvious question. How was your first contact with anime? I guess I first watched anime on TV, cartoons like Pokemon or Sakura Card Captor. Others that I kinda remember following the serialization were Digimon 4 and Yu-Gi-Oh! But since they were airing on TV, I didn't watch the complete series from beginning to end. I didn't do that until Naruto. That one I started watching it when I was 13 or 14 years old. That's talking about TV shows. Definitely I had already watched Ghibli films, the Miyazaki films in particular. When Spirited Away won the Oscar, it arrived to Mexican theaters and my grandmother took all her children to watch it. I was 6 or 7 years old and it was kind of traumatic. And do you remember if your grandmother liked it? Oh, my grandmother was super cinephile. I think she read reviews of the film and since it was in the theaters, she took us. But from Ghibli and Miyazaki, I already had a VHS of Kiki's Delivery Service. I watched that one many times. Probably even before Spirited Away. Going back to the series, you watched Naruto a bit late, didn't you? Yes, when I watched Naruto, I already knew what anime was. Before that, everything was cartoons or animation. I was not aware of where they came from. Okay, let's talk animation. During my research, I arrived at your YouTube channel, where you share content on animation techniques. Okay, so the question is, did I go to art school to become an animator? Yes and no. I went to a normal university that had a major in animation and digital art, but the classes were focused on CG, 3D animation, and even programming for video games, things like that. There were design and art classes, but 2D animation, I learned it on my own, practically. But I'd like to mention that the first job opportunities that I had, where I learned a lot, was with some senpais, seniors that have a 2D animation studio. So being on college connected me with them. So, you know, the question of going or not going to art school, it really depends. I do think that in my case, going to university was useful. I did have a scholarship and Mexican universities are not as expensive as American universities. There are a lot of variables you have to consider. What I can say is that having like the paper that says that you studied can really open opportunities with things like maybe a work visa or other situations that fall like in the systems of the world. However, my university didn't taught me what I needed to know to get into the anime industry. I had to do that on my own, but it gave me good things as well. And did you start working professionally in the West or in Japan? I started in the West first. When I was halfway through college, I was an intern in a studio as colorist and cleaner, and after a while, I had the chance to be an animator. In the West, I'm a keyframe animator. On September 2022, I got my first anime offer. I had to study a lot and make personal animation to show that I knew the Japanese pipeline. So the things that I had done didn't cover what Japanese animators are expected to do. You can actually watch that reel here on my YouTube channel. That's the one that got me the first offer. I think I will make a video on making your demo reel and tips. So stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't. For a lot of Hispanic illustrators, getting into the anime industry is a dream. But it turns out that in recent times, if you pay attention to the credits, there are more foreigners involved. You may find last names that are definitely of our people. But how do you get into the anime industry today? So what I heard, and turns out that it is true because I think it worked for me, is Twitter, or well, X. In a YouTube video from the channel Tonari Animation, one animator said that it's even a joke that if you put in your Twitter bio that you are an animator, someone in an anime production is going to reach out to you. Obviously, you need to show your work so that they know that you can handle the job. So if you share on Twitter good animation sequences that you made, it's likely that you get into the animator's niche and someone sees your work and sends you a message. Okay, so I do need to mention something here, and sometimes someone from a production may reach to you and maybe you're not ready. If that's the case, then it's worse that you take the job and leave a bad impression. A lot of things come into play and it's a complicated system, so you need to look out for yourself. That will also ensure that you have a good experience. Okay, so this is the demo reel that I mentioned before. Do you think that it has to do with less animators in Japan and that facilitated the entrance of talent from other parts of the world? Yes, definitely. I don't think that they would be looking for animators if it weren't for that. It's kind of risky to contact unknown people on Twitter, but of course I'm super grateful for the opportunity. Hahaha. Okay, so I never got confirmation if they saw my demo reel on Twitter because they told me that they saw my work, and all the job offers that I have gotten were to my email, not only anime but from a lot of different places, and that's because they watched my demo reel on YouTube. So this is another piece of advice. If you want to get job offers, I say that you upload your demo reel in all platforms. Okay, actually now I'm remembering something. Before the Magical Destroyers offer, a Japanese producer wrote me on Instagram in Japanese. And I am learning Japanese, but I mean, kanjis are really difficult. So kind of like with translation and, you know, trying to communicate, I wrote back and he kind of like asked me if I had done law before, which is the process animators in Japan do, and it stands for layout. So I told him that I had only done personal layout, and I told him that in the West the process is different, which by the way I am making a video comparing the job of animators in the West and animators in the anime industry, so again, subscribe. Anyway, the point is I kind of like wanted to get the offer, and so I told him that I could make a test for him to verify if I am up to the task. And he liked the idea and he told me that he would get back to me. And actually, he wrote me back. But I was already working for Magical Destroyers, so if that Japanese producer would have taken the risk with me, that would be my first production, and it would have been through Instagram. So all of this story was to say that post your demo reel everywhere. Basically, your advice is say you're an animator and post everywhere. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, and if your work is good, you're going to get a job. And even though it may not be an anime at first, slowly you will be learning more and having more material to update your demo. What did you feel when you saw your name in the Magical Destroyers credits? It was very exciting. Even though my work was only a small percentage, I felt as excited as if I were the director. Haha. And I had that goal to be part of the production of an anime. It was a 2022 purpose. Is that how you say it? It was a 2022 goal. So yeah, I did it. One foot in the anime industry. Okay, so I was also nervous because they didn't ask me how to put my name in the credits, and I had heard that they copy the name that you have on Twitter, and exactly that's how it was. Good thing that I didn't have a ridiculous name. at the time. Okay, what was your job in the production? I was working in layouts, LO. In anime, it's a combination of the processes, layout and key animation from the West. Video talking about both pipelines coming soon. And how was the compensation for your first anime experience? Definitely working in anime is not what pays my bills. It's a reality what they say about overworked and underpaid, but it's also normal that they do not offer a lot of money for your first job because it's risky to hire foreign animators. This opportunity was like a first test for me. Since I am freelance, I do have other job opportunities that I get with a very wide price range. It depends if it's something commercial or entertainment or a big brand or something more indie. Okay, so I actually remember saying this in the interview, but it got cut off. I'm currently living with my husband, so he's the one that pays the bills. And before that, I lived with my family. So I think it's important to mention that my work in anime is not like to make money. So that's something that you definitely have to consider. Of course, I'm talking about my personal experience. The current anime that I'm working on is paying me a bit more. It's still not a lot. The overworked situation, I really haven't felt it. However, the underpayment is not a joke. If you consider underpayment to be a type of overworking, then of course it's overwork. I would love to help making a change in that, but you know, I'm getting to know the industry, so that may come later. Gambarimasu. Okay, and then there's an image. Explorative sketches from a personal project that Mariana and her partner are doing. This is a short film that we're working on, and it's going to be an open process, so I'm going to be sharing the production on this channel. Is it your intention to make a living from the anime industry, or do you have other ideas about your career as an artist? In the long run, I do not want to be an animator. I do have other plans. That's also why I have my YouTube channel, but those are future plans. Right now, I would like to see what it is to work in a studio in-house. Maybe still as a freelance, but see and experience the studio environment. Is there any dream project, any anime that you would like to work on, or manga that you would like to be part of if it has an anime adaptation? I would have loved to be in Attack on Titan. People make memes of how many parts and how they divided the last season, but I saw it as an opportunity to maybe get in. It didn't happen, but on the good side, it's fine because I didn't got the series spoiled. Haha. I would like to be in a film as well. Maybe one of Masaki Yuasa's films. I really like his work. And I also like more the original animation projects. Okay, so no, I don't want to say that I like more the originals, but that I would like to work more on original animation projects than adaptations. I like that about Magical Destroyers. It was something original. A Trigger show would be cool as well, but that's a studio that I see kind of like more closed, less open to work with freelancers. Well, I think so, right? Maybe when I speak Japanese, I will get more opportunities, so that's why I'm stalling it. Oh, you know which project I would love to work on? One by Shinichiro Watanabe. If I get an opportunity in the future, I will love that. Okay, so this interview was before the trailer of his newest series came out. What's it called? Pegasus? Figaro? Olympus? Lazarus. Okay, that's really cool. Shinichiro Watanabe is still working on things, so maybe if I get an opportunity to work in one of his TV shows, I would love that. For someone who ultimately doesn't want to be an animator, you sure want to animate a lot. Yeah, although I will also be an animator for my personal projects. I don't know when I will stop animating. In general, I don't have a lot of professional experience, especially considering my age, but I don't feel behind nor anything like that. I poured a lot of time in personal projects, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of entering a very systematic industry. How can I say this? If you have a stable job in a studio and you're paid well and you know everything is sorted out, if you want to do your own projects or leave everything behind and go to Japan, it's going to be more difficult to leave that stability for uncertainty. So if you dream with your personal projects and you play the system, then maybe you will never make them because of that. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that I'm happy being freelance. I'm happy with the anime offers that I'm getting. I'm learning a lot without really being that deep into the system, and I'm working on my personal stuff as well. So I am kind of like balancing those things. A screenshot of the storyboard animatic from the same short film. Of course, the fight between getting financial stability and satisfying your artistic desires. That's right, it's cañón, difficult. Getting back to the question of dream projects to work on, obviously I would love to do something with Ghibli, but I didn't even mention it because it sounds impossible, right? Doing something with Miyazaki. Well, Miyazaki is not the only Ghibli director, but he gets all the attention. You never know what can happen. Yeah, probably Miyazaki will live much more time, so I will work hard. Ganbate. Watching your YouTube channel, there's several videos where you are practicing, especially anatomy drawing. Hahaha, I'm feeling exposed. You really don't need that much anatomy drawing, especially if you're starting, you're only going to get frustrated. It's important to practice, but I think that you have to balance working smart. For example, a lot of drawing and animation is observation. See how things are resolved in real life and in animation that we already admire. And then you can try reproducing and practicing your observations. I think the fastest way to learn is working with someone, starting as an intern someplace and doing a lot of stuff. Even if they don't pay you. Learn on the job. Yeah, and start as a colorist or even, what's the cliche? Preparing coffee. Obviously, that's not going to be in an anime if you're from Latin America. And there's also the internet. I have learned a lot of stuff from the internet. That's why I also have my YouTube channel, to give back a bit of information as well. Just by Googling animation concepts and start reading, you're going to learn a lot. And if you test that knowledge with other people, maybe in an indie studio or in an online community, you're going to learn more and more and more. Going back to things a bit more personal, what are your favorite anime and creators? Although maybe we can guess them already. I don't like to point only one project in particular because I feel like there are a lot very good and I just cannot choose only one. And they change a lot depending on the genre and humor. I can mention projects that shaped my life, you know, were kind of like this turning point, but I don't know if they are my favorite. What I can do is choose my favorite project from Shinichiro Watanabe or Hayao Miyazaki. It's still hard for me to do. From Watanabe, I think I would choose Space Dandy or maybe Samurai Champloo. And from Miyazaki, Spirited Away. Well, I haven't watched the most recent one, so I cannot choose either. You know which one I started watching and it's really chulada and it's really amazing? I'm gonna use the word amazing. Golden Kamuy. To be honest, if you ask me if it's my favorite, then no, because I don't want to choose Golden Kamuy above all the others. However, I would say that it's a 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's what happens. I think a lot of, you know, serious films or comics or video games are 10 out of 10. I don't feel comfortable singling out only one. So to end, what have you done since Magical Destroyers? I have been doing some motion graphics for corporate clients that pay better. It's less work and less hours invested, but also less exciting. I'm also producing a short film with my husband, and just now, well, it's been a couple of months now, but I got an anime offer for a very cool anime that is coming soon. Well, no, I don't know, but eventually. And that's how our conversation with Mariana ended. Thank you, Amilcar, for inviting me, and I really feel honored. I didn't expect to get this kind of invitation after only one anime credit, so thank you. If you're an animator and you want to share your experience, you can write us to... I do know a few animators, so maybe I should tell them. It would be great to get one from every Latin country accomplishing their dreams. Good interview, up with the Latin talent. Okay, very nice. Editor Mariana here. I forgot to say the outro. Thank you for watching. If you have more questions, leave a comment. And stay tuned because I will continue sharing videos on art and animation and storytelling. See you in the next one.